Okay, we're live.
So we're live from Freedom Plaza. This is the October 2011 demonstration that we were here earlier this afternoon, broadcasting live from, it's the evening now. As you can tell, it's much darker than earlier today. I'm with friend Deborah Sweet, who is with World Can't Wait, and I'd like you to introduce yourself to people who don't know what you do.
I'm the director of World Can't Wait. We're based in New York, but we're a national organization that began in 2005 to drive out the Bush regime and continued after Obama was elected to stop the crimes of our government, which grow.
Yeah. And so right now we're standing by one of the few exhibits that they put up to show people the cost of these crimes, show what happened, and just talk about what you put together. And we'll sort of pan around and let people see that the drones are up here.
We have a fleet of 3 Reaper drones with an 8-foot wingspan that were made by people from upstate New York. Many drones are being made because there's a lot of places we're going to be protesting drones. And these move along. Tomorrow we're going to be going over to General Atomics, which is actually has a lobbying office on the other side of the White House. They make drones. They make drone parts. So we're going to be taking the whole protest over there. Tomorrow, October 7th, is the day in the U.S. calendar that the bombs started dropping 10 years ago on Afghanistan. It was October 6th in Afghanistan and October 7th in the U.S. So that's what we're going to do as an anti-war protest. And of course, Obama is one of the reasons that we've been focusing on the crimes of our government, no matter who the president is. Obama's used drones 8 times more than me.
So the idea
actually. To a huge degree, the U.S. warfighting strategy is moving to unmanned drones.
When we did that before,
Afghanistan, Pakistan, Somalia, Yemen, Libya, who knows who else is going to be under the drones. But we know that they're targeted from within the U.S. There's 2 drone programs, one run by the military, the other run by the CIA. There's no oversight on any of them. They have huge budgets. They're part of the whole black operation that are going to continue in Afghanistan through 2024, if we are to believe the new status of forces agreement. But it's an outrage. And part of what we've learned by being out here since 7 o'clock this morning in 12 hours, we set up on the side of Freedom Plaza. It's right on the sidewalk in order to talk to the general public. And since 7 this morning, hundreds or thousands of people have stopped by to interact with and look at these displays. We feel it's extremely important. We need to grow this. We need to have people confront what it is that
I don't think you can talk to people.
There's no better way than the actual photograph, the models of the drones, reading about the torture techniques of the Bush regime, than to have people stop and think.
Well, then you're showing, these are children, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be marching behind the drones tomorrow with the shrouds of babies.
Yeah.
Because, whatever the U.S. government says about the targeting of insurgents, and they always announce how many militants or insurgents were hit, well, that's collateral damage. That's what people are categorized as after they died. And we have no basis to know, really, how many civilians have been killed, but the numbers are large. And any civilian being killed in this way is
those are, and also unmanned assassination vehicles.
Yeah. I mean, truly, people do not know. Every single exhibit we have along this block, people have said to us today, I didn't know the war in Afghanistan was going on. I didn't know the war in Iraq was going on. I didn't know about drones. I didn't understand what the torture was. I didn't know 1 million Iraqis have been killed. I didn't know what's being done in Pakistan.
Then you mentioned the Lockheed killing people who have been looking at the exhibit.
Yeah. This instrument is what killed Anwar al-Awlaki, and Sami Khan
Yes.
last Friday.
The president's real death panel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And then people, you know, they keep a kill and capture list. And it's, you know, who's got the control to put people on that list? Well, it's just whatever anybody wants to do, and those people get listed, and then they become
now.
Right, and they've made a serious effort to justify all this, as the Bush regime did, on the basis of international law, which is chilling.
Yeah.
Talk about the other stuff.
All right.
Things that
So we'll head to the exhibit here. We've got quite a few people who are looking at the boots.
Constantly. I mean, it's a shock to people. 6,000 U.S. military killed, and that's a tiny portion of the casualties, because you have all the people that were seriously injured, and you have the suicides, which is much more than the people who were actually killed in Iraq, right? As far as we know, it was up to 17 a day last year.
So, yeah, the development in new body armor and equipment has resulted in less people dying, but like really serious injuries, you know.
Exactly.
Massive loss of limbs, massive head. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Which has really messed up a lot of people we know, including people that are at this event.
So, I guess you put out some signage here with so people could walk away with some kind of a message. Can you talk about what you particularly want people to know? Because I don't think, even though these are the boots of people, you want us to just be concerned about the troops that have died, but you've also have things tied to the Iraqis that have died.
Yeah, this is a memorial to the victims of the U.S. global war on terror, which we debuted on 9/11 in New York, a few blocks from the World Trade Center, where again we had a much bigger display, but thousands and thousands of people came by and just stood quietly photographing, talking, interacting with this exhibit. This is the names of U.S. Soldiers and Marines that were killed in Iraq and Afghanistan. And there's a spiral over there of civilian shoes. And that would be much bigger proportionately than the 6,000 and some U.S. military that were killed.
Yeah. Okay. So, and these are all wars for people who are watching the stream. This is, you're even thinking about the people in Yemen and Somalia.
Yeah, the undeclared wars.
Yeah, we have the undeclared wars.
And we are talking about Libya.
Yeah.
We're talking about Yemen.
Yeah.
This is all part and parcel of the U.S. trying to control the Middle East to be unchallenged and unchallengeable.
Now over here, you've put together stories from Guantanamo, and it's getting dark, so it's hard for people to probably see some of the lettering here, but we've got pictures of Abu Ghraib. Talk about bringing this. As somebody who's been reporting on your activist group for the last 2 or 3 years, and even participating in demonstrations that you put on, you've made a lot of headway in actually bringing the issue of torture to people. So you want to talk about what you have out here?
Yeah, this is actually an installation that we've done around the country called the Bush Torture Museum. And all it is the actual techniques that the Bush regime began practicing, starting in Guantanamo and Abu Ghraib. And the reason we call all of this torture is that walling and headbanging and sleep deprivation and indefinite detention in its own self is considered internationally to be torture. The situation in Guantanamo right now, 171 men still in prison. The situation in Bagram is even more horrific. More than 2,000 men, who we don't know, are being held without habeas corpus rights in a soon-to-be-built $100 million new U.S. prison in Bagram. And why don't they have habeas corpus rights? Because, yes, the Obama administration says they can't have habeas corpus rights. They're in a war zone. And who made it a war zone? The United States. It's a catch-22. They have no legal representation, no charges, no way of ever getting out. This is torture. And on January, we've been signing people up all day today. This is very exciting. The Center for Constitutional Rights, Amnesty International, Witness Against Torture, and a lot of us, on January 11th, 2012, are going to be right back here running a human chain between the Capitol and the White House.
Interesting.
2,200 people representing all these prisoners on the exact 10th anniversary of Guantanamo. And we signed up, we've committed to 100 people coming to be part of that. World Can't Wait, and we signed up 50 today, which is it's really a testament to how much people read this, thought about it, and said, okay, I'll be back in D.C. on that day.
Right, so
I'm so young, I remember when Obama opposed Guantanamo Bay.
Right, yeah, that was only like 4 years ago when he was running for president. Do you remember when he closed it, though?
yeah.
Right.
Well, I just want to read for people who are watching the live stream, because it's important that we actually get these out to people. So what they've laid out is a description of stress positions, wall standing, attention grasp, forced nudity, dietary manipulation, sleep deprivation, waterboarding, cramped confinement in a dark space, or solitary confinement, and walling. And, I don't know how much you are able to talk about this, but our writer, who's been friendly towards World Can't Wait, Jeff K.,
Yeah, the psychologist.
wrote this story about how they're not calling it waterboarding now. They're not waterboarding people, they're doing water treatment on prisoners.
Yeah.
And they'll shove a hose up somebody's nose, but it's not waterboarding.
But it's
not
treatment, it sounds like a medical procedure,
Yeah.
and it's probably done when there are doctors in the room, or psychologists. It's completely chilling. And this has been the normalizing of the torture machine under Obama, and, spreading to the rest of the world. And it is just, flooring to me that people today come up and say, oh, I didn't know any of this was happening.
Now, as we wrap up our conversation, and we'll let people see, you've got this huge tent being put over here.
Yeah.
And some of our viewers might remember this sign here. I don't know if John wants to get it, but this was on your banner earlier when you marched through with the orange.
Yeah, the only sighting of Obama today is a mugshot with George Bush.
So just the context when we were talking about this was that Ed Schultz thinks that everybody in Liberty Park and Occupy Wall Street are Obama supporters. And the two shots that I saw was this, and then you've got the LaRouche Democrat people, and they put the Hitler mustache. So there's no way there's Obama supporters here.
But there are a lot of disappointed, disaffected, former Obama supporters.
Sure.
And there still are Obama supporters. There's people that are hoping that this is going to resolve in a different way, without a great deal of upheaval and struggle. And I'm just here to say it isn't.
So the real question I really wanted to put to you was, you rose up as a response to Bush crimes. Now you're responding to the crimes of the Obama administration.
Yeah.
How do you really think things have evolved? Like what exactly are you taking on now that Obama is in office? I guess maybe what's your biggest challenge right now?
Well, actually, this graphic came from an ad we did in the New York Times and New York Review Books in April of 2010. The minute that two things happened, the El-Awlaki assassination order became public by Obama, and collateral murder was released by WikiLeaks.
Right.
We said, we've got to go into print on this. Crimes are crimes no matter who does them. And, it's extremely chilling to think about that, which was only about, 16
more
months
than a year
ago.
Yeah.
When we were righteously outraged about Obama taking unto himself the power to kill somebody. Never mind that they're a U.S. citizen. They were killed without any due process.
Right.
Certainly. And now it's happened. It happened last week. And we felt absolutely we have to have this here. And we have to have people confronting reality. The empire marches on with a different head. Maybe has a slicker way of telling it. It is just as outrageous, if not more so. And it's worse because people are not protesting it enough, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're up against, We're not appealing to the government today. The government's not listening to us. We are appealing to the people. We have to come out in our millions.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have to deal with it.
All right. Well, it was great doing this interview.
Yeah.
And we'll keep following.
We'll
maybe
be here
get out to
tomorrow,
the march
yeah.
tomorrow.
You'll be to which day are you going to be here? Just to tell the people.
Oh, I have no plans to leave yet.
Oh, okay.
We're here. We're here.
All right.
All right.
We should
Join us.
You should go get some footage of the General Assembly,
Yeah,
I think.
we'll walk over there and see what they're planning. So, thank you for everybody who's been watching. You just saw the tail end of Deborah Sweet of Will Can't Wait. And now we're walking over. It's much darker. And we are going to go see what the General Assembly is planning. They've been talking. They've been in session. And a few of the things that I've heard, some nuggets, have to do with people deciding whether they're going to stay in the park and sleep in tents or even if they are going to sleep, because it's going to be camping out if they stay, and it could invite a confrontation with the federal park police, will be the National Park Police. And so they're over here, they're doing, any of you have been following Occupy Wall Street, which I expect most of you have been. You know that they've been using the General Assembly process here, and they've set up a microphone, which is different from Liberty Park, because they use people's mic. They're not allowed to set up any sort of sound system. But, what people should know is everything here is permitted right now. They have this for 4 days, going through Sunday. And so there's some discussion over what the police might do if people try to stay in the park, because they do have permits. So let's walk over, we'll listen into what people are saying on the mic, and we'll let you have a listen.
Living, foreclosure after foreclosure, school cuts after school cuts, job loss after job loss, divorce after divorce, drink after drink, drug after drug, Dover after Dover, funeral after funeral, taps after taps, tour after tour, suicide after suicide, round after round after round after round, punch after punch after punch after punch, knockdown after knockdown, memory loss after memory loss, until America knocks itself out. War in Afghanistan. The bell is getting ready to ring for year 11. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Ted Rawl, an editorial cartoonist. He's going to talk a little bit about Afghanistan. Warm welcome for Ted Rawl.
Hi, everyone. How's it going? All right. So, 10 years ago, I was trying to make a little extra money because cartooning doesn't pay terribly well anymore. And I did a trip to Afghanistan as a war correspondent for the Village Voice. And in November of 2001, I found myself at the Battle of Kunduz. One night, we're sleeping. It's very, very dark. There's no electricity. It's like the 14th century. The ground starts shaking, and me and all the people that are in my guest house, we assumed it was an earthquake. We suddenly heard windows breaking, dogs barking, and then there was a blast of hot air, and then more windows breaking, screaming, and then it was over. We just assumed, we didn't know what happened. The next morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, one of my colleagues came to say that the United States had dropped a depleted uranium bomb on a bridge in a town called Kanabad. The bridge was probably about the width of this stage. That bomb killed 550 people, none of whom had anything to do with the war. They were just villagers in a tiny little town. That town was 24 miles away from where I was sleeping. Okay, so they essentially dropped a mini nuke. I got a cab, drove out there, and there's this, as you probably know, under Islam it's required that bodies be buried within 24 hours, or before dusk, if possible. So people were busily digging out bodies, trying to identify them. There's parts, there's torsos, there's ID questions. Does 2 hands, is that 2 people or 1 person? It was a grisly scene. And I was poking around the side of the road, and I noticed on the side of the road a piece of the bomb. And stenciled on the inside was the maker of that bomb, which was an American contractor. And just something inside me, I'm a cynical guy, something inside me snapped. And at that moment, I just decided that I was fed fucking up with the U.S. and its foreign policy. And for the last 10 years, I've been talking to people, mostly on the left, about what we can do to stop being the biggest murderers in the world at the expense of our own people. And over, all I hear is, we've got to settle. We've got to settle for Obama and the Democrats, because if we don't vote for them, we'll get Rick Perry. Or, we've got to settle. We've got to settle. Maybe you are into settling. Are you into settling? No! I don't want to fucking settle. I'm 48 years old. Let me tell you, you are not going to get another opportunity like this the rest of your life. These only come around once. Kent State happened when I was 8 years old. The economic collapse is good news because it means that the system is finished. It's done. The Democrats, the Republicans, all the cable news stuff, that's just window dressing. That's ceremony. That's just pomp and circumstance. It's all bullshit. It's distraction. We've had 40 years of elections that have had no politics in them. The politics are out here. You guys are the politics. We need to overthrow this government. There is no other way. Anything else is settling. People post to my blog and they say, oh, Ted Rall doesn't like the rules, so he wants to upend the card table. He doesn't like the game. Damn right I don't like the game, and they're right. So, it's time for us to really get serious about settling. No more. This is it. We have to seize this opportunity. We speak for more than 99% of the people. And we have a responsibility to those people in Afghanistan that I talked about, that we murdered and are still killing. We have a responsibility to the people of Iraq, the people of Somalia, the people of Yemen, the people who we are assassinating. How shameful is it that people in Tunisia and Egypt who lived under much greater repression on a personal level than we do, how shameful is it that they rose up first? The world is waiting for us. It's our responsibility to clean our house, to close Guantanamo, to put the president, the political class, members of Congress, corporate CEOs in prison awaiting trial for treason against the people of the world. It is definitely time to stop settling. And I know that it's going to be very, very tempting to settle. Next year, there's this election. I was on television earlier today, being interviewed and asked about that. Well, you know, one way or the other, there's going to be a president next year, so who do you support? And I said, one way or the other? Not if it's up to me. We're starting from scratch. We're going to build it all together. I don't know what it's going to look like, but this system is rotten to the core, economically, politically, morally, in every way. It is neither reformable nor redeemable. And that is something that we all need to remember. It can't be fixed. When I say it's not reformable, I point to major events over the last 10 years. In 2000, we saw that democracy was alive. And again in 2004 in Ohio. The election system. Bullshit. Katrina. The U.S. government can't even save a city from weather. A hurricane is weather. It's weather. It comes every year. Ask anyone who lives in the Gulf. They did it. They were so incompetent and so stupid and so evil. They couldn't even save themselves. Of course, obviously, the fact is that if this had happened in Bel Air, it would have looked very, very different, wouldn't it have? And on it goes.
We're trying to find Kevin Zeese and get him to talk about how today went. He's one of the lead organizers of this October 6th rally and occupation that they're trying to get started. He was over here, and
he knows that there's unrest.
just give us a moment.
He can't do anything about it. He has to ignore us because he doesn't answer to us. We're not his boss. The big corporate CEOs are his boss.
So over there, who's speaking is Ted Rawl.
With him, what are you doing? I mean, it's been 3 years.
You can probably watch their live stream for some much better video. We didn't have quite the greatest angle.
Then, of course, there's the environmental crisis. We ignore it. I mean, everything that we care about, the problems that people care about, lack of money, lack of jobs, the collapse of did anybody see that New York Times piece about the dying forests a couple days ago? It's outrageous. If you missed it, I recommend that you check it out. The forests are dying, and the planet is heading into the
Right, so there's still about 200 people here, I'd say.
You can talk about how they decided to do half sleep in the park, half sleep outside. Basically getting arrested.
Yeah, so you're hearing them cheer loudly. The people here have decided to have some people sleep and some people stay awake. I think they're going to have some system of people taking guard and watching people who want to sleep. And I think as we're listening to people discuss, they're really talking about seizing the moment because, and Ted was saying this moment doesn't come around often where there's so much of an opportunity for the people to actually change the way that the system is actually run. And
the system is too big.
We've got an opportunity here, so let's see if we can find Kevin Zeese.
Our phone calls and reading our email. They have the surveillance state. They have drones. They can assassinate you anyway. Anywhere you are, they're listening to you. They're following you. They have incredible weapons. They have the biggest...
Why don't we go offline for just a minute here, and then we'll get Kevin Zeese, and there'll be another opportunity for you to get some more report of what's going on from the ground. But instead of you watching us aimlessly wander, we'll get Kevin Zeese and we'll bring you a report from him.